Hello and a very warm welcome. Now I want to be wealthy. I'm sure that plenty of you do as well, and that's why you're watching. So I've put in place a plan, and that plan is to invest for long-term returns through the stock market. Now I can't give you personalised financial advice. What I can suggest in general is if you want to become wealthy, it's good to put a plan in place, then track your progress against that plan. So here is my interpretation of that as I share with you my stock portfolio update, what's in the portfolio, what the performance is, and what's happened, all of the positions in the last month. Enjoy the video. In order to hit my plan, I've committed for the next 25 or so years to add at least £300 a month into my investment account. So it's a big commitment, and it's a good way of disciplining myself. So here is the first holding then, as we go through the performance of all of them. And I'm going to start with my higher quality companies. Banco's okay, first of all, for this part of the portfolio. Dropped quite a bit last month, still up 79% in around about 4 years or so. Williams Sonoma, how long we held that for? Around about a year, so there's a 150% return on that one. Second largest position in this part of the portfolio, I will continue to hold. Now, Alphabet or Google, I will again continue to hold. That has returned well in around about, under 2 years. And then Skyworks, that pulled back quite a lot last month. I'm just slightly down on that. I did re-review the company recently, and I'm very happy to continue to hold that position. Happy with the sizing of the position. And that takes us to Visa, which is, in my view, an excellent company. I would like to increase my position size. But of course, that relies on me not overpaying when I buy an additional stake in the company, and therefore I need the market price to drop before that happens. Speaking of drop, good segue into Dropbox, which I'm going to continue to hold. I believe the market is undervaluing this company. And Rightmove, which was new in the previous portfolio update, that has just edged forward slightly. And Elevance, which hasn't changed really month to month. And Unilever, however, has pushed forward 7 percentage points, around about £800, and yeah, well over 100% return on that particular holding, including the dividends. Now, American Express also pay a dividend. That has returned 160% in about 4 years. I would like to increase my position size again, but at the current price, I believe I would be overpaying. So I'll continue to hold for now. And I'll do the same for Meta, continue to hold. And again, I would be happy to increase my position size were the valuation be at a point where I wouldn't be overpaying. Adobe pulled back a bit last month, although subsequently I think that position has moved on a bit. But yeah, about just over 1% of the portfolio there. Fortinet down a little bit. That's a reasonably new position, so I'm not too worried about the fact that's showing red. It's completely irrelevant if it's 5% down, and that's mentality. I want to keep going. And Berkshire Hathaway. Now, I'd really, really appreciate your views on Berkshire Hathaway in terms of what is a good price to buy more in this company. Are any of you holding Berkshire Hathaway or even buying more? The sort of company that I'd love to have as a larger part of my portfolio. It's only £651 out of over 50,000, so certainly it's a too small a percentage. But I'm struggling to work out exactly what a rating is that I wouldn't be overpaying for it on. But nevertheless, I've made over 100% what I've got. CGI, quite new to the portfolio, down slightly. Somero really pushed on, up 10 points in months, so back to positive on that one. And InMode has just edged up slightly to £300 as well. That takes me into the dividend part of my portfolio for those dividend holdings where I've bought them, generally speaking, well, they're slightly undervalued, so the dividend on cost can be a pretty high percentage. Unum Group is the perfect example of that. My largest holding in terms of individual companies, almost £3,000, about 5% of the portfolio. And as you can see, it was up a month and pushing the 200% return club, which for 4 years on a sort of boring dividend stock is pretty impressive. Aviva continues to edge on, and that mainly was due to, I think there's a nice dividend that's landed quite recently. And Legal & General's pushed forward as well. Pretty happy with those two holdings, and I suspect I'll be reinvesting those dividends back into those companies for optimal growth. Speaking of optimal growth, Investec now has pushed back over that 300% total return, and Citigroup just continues to edge forward as is plus 500, now 66% up. Quite an interesting company. British American Tobacco, excuse me, what was that? British American Tobacco edged forward. And then that takes us into the managed by others part of my portfolio. And the largest position there is Fundsmith, led by Terry Smith, almost £2,700, up 12% on that. FTSE 100 has pushed forward quite notably. We're now 60% up on that one. And the other managed fund that I have, Inside Train UK, again, that's edged forward, that's over 100% still. FTSE 250, a very good month, up 9 points, pushing £1,000 there. And the US index also around about £1,000. The world index position, which is 10% up. There's another index here at £700. All of these I'm continuing to hold. S&P 500 continuing to hold. Australia index continuing to hold. That takes me to the cyclical companies, those sort of tactical opportunities that won't be held for the very, very long term, but could be opportunities in the business cycle for the commodities or companies. And Alphamet, although I've taken a lot of profit off the table on that, it's still a good chunk of the portfolio and it's returned very well. Intel is down slightly. Bitcoin had a very good month, so up 76% overall, continuing its recent performance, and I'm considering whether to take that profit off the table now, that ETF. And the same would apply to Ethereum, which is now over a 100% return for me. And Altasource there, almost worthless at this point. But do show the bad ones as well. Now, the next section of my portfolio is companies that do not fit my strategy as of when I changed strategy 2 years ago to what I'm up to currently, what I'm presenting to you currently. So I have been, over the course of this year, trimming my Alibaba position. I will continue to do so. It's now only 2% of my portfolio and down just under half. Also down just over half. And you've got Cumulus here, has dropped off a bit more in the month. And then the two very poor performers. A big shout out to Patreon VIP supporters who continued support is appreciated. And you're very welcome to join us in that club if you want to talk about investing. But of course, we cannot give investment advice personal to you, but we can share ideas and concepts and strategies, particularly through our Discord server. That sort of thing you are up for and you're interested in contributing to that, we're very happy to have you join us. So the actual portfolio position at the strategic level, we've gone through the detail, but strategic level, a top-down view, it was 51.6 previously, and we are now 52,500. And by the end of this year, including additional deposits, I need to be at just over 54. So it feels like that is on track. Now, since the last portfolio update, previous month, it's gone up, but most of that is due to 700 deposit I put in. There's a small increase in performance of 167. So it's, yeah, just a smidge up, really, since last time. And the required run rate to hit my £1 million ambitious target in 25.5 years' time is to get 9.58% per year. Here's the overview of where the money is held. See, there's the quality companies that we looked at the start. That is the largest section. I want that to get even bigger. The cash section is too big, 26%. That needs to be at least 15 percentage points down in my view. However, I'm not just going to throw it in. It needs to be, for those quality companies, I need to be not overpaying, and then I'll buy them if they have the good metrics in terms of high return on capital, good operating margins, and so on. Now, changes I have, as I mentioned earlier, or at least hinted at, I've sold 5 shares, I believe, in Alibaba in the last month at varying prices, generally in the 80 to 89 range. And in terms of buys, I want this to be as quiet as possible. These are all existing positions that we're added to. So every month I'm adding to Fundsmith, over month of money to the world index. I did add a little bit to my Fortinet position, which did have a little dip during the month of May. This concludes my presentation to you. It's been great to have you along. See you on the next one.